Thank Buddha it's Friday. All right. Today we are going to discuss the many things that make up this list, the worst things in Thailand. And they're surprisingly, the list of worst things is longer than the list of best things, which really surprises me. But the worst things are relatively small, so that's what we're going to discuss today. Let me put this back a little bit here. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk a little bit about politics. And we're going to talk about the whole mask thing. I got like 3 messages from some, I don't know what the deal is with the guy. I don't know if he's a troll or he's a knucklehead. He's got to be a knucklehead for sure, but if he's a troll, he's a troll. Basically asking me everything. What's going on with the mask in Thailand? I'm so scared. Have you been vaccinated? Well, how do you feel now? Are you okay? Please help. Please help with what? What the fuck am I gonna do? You're asking me about a vaccine? I don't give a shit about the vaccine. Ask me a stupid question, get a stupid answer. I don't care. I'm not taking another one. I did my bit. You know, in the beginning, it's understandable. And then it's like, you know, dude, I don't know you. To me, you are a knucklehead. So you're crying about the vaccine. Look, people are keeling over. They're all keeling over. No, they're not. They're not keeling over in mass. Maybe some people are, but you know, that's going to happen. People keel over all the time. I could keel over tomorrow. And what are you going to do? Oh, no, it's because of the vaccine. No, it wasn't. You know, maybe I keel over from a stroke or a heart attack or something else. I mean, you know, could be anything. Anyway, you know, I wake up, I see these messages, I'm like, what is this guy? Please help. Please help. Why do I need to help you? Help yourself. Take responsibility. That's what I mean. It's like crazy. Random commenter. Good morning. Oh my God. You know, I'm irritated right now about a number of things, and maybe it has to do with this list, and it has to do with my own stupidity of being here instead of somewhere else, a place that's got a lot more positives than negatives. And I mean, like I said, the negatives are relatively small on this list. For the most part, they don't really affect me. But then I get some message from this guy who, please help. Please help. I mean, please, how would you like me to help? Oh, let me tell you, I feel great. I feel good. Physically, aside from busting my ass at the gym, which, you know, yesterday after the stream, this is another irritant right here, is this fucking music. They always feel the need. You gotta hear their music. It's gotta be so loud. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be loud. It's supposed to be background fucking ambiance. Anyway, I go to the... Yeah, they do. They do play copyrighted music. What are you talking about? Play it all the time. Especially at Christmas time. Fucking Mariah Carey. All I want for Christmas is you. Anyway, so yesterday after the stream, I go to the gym. I do my yoga class, and the lady absolutely tortures me. I've begun to... you get demonetized. Yeah, you do. You don't get demonetized permanently, but they demonetize. They limit the video. So instead of making the $2 or $1 or $1.50 or 50 cents or 22 cents that I make off of a stream, then what they do is, because 17 seconds of some song plays in the background, I'm not talking about right now, because this is one after another. 17 seconds of the music plays, or 9 seconds, whatever it may be, and then they take a cut of whatever you make off the whole video. They don't divide it up as a percentage or anything like that, which, whatever. I don't even want to get into that, because I'm already irritated enough. If I start talking about that, that's really going to irritate me. Anyway, go to the gym. The yoga thing, listen, yoga is pleasurable torture. That's what I've begun to refer it to. In some cases, it's flat out torture. What was yesterday? Yesterday was Thursday. Yeah. So the one lady, she gives me the class. She's got a tough class, man. It's hard for me because I'm a little too wide and a little too bulky. But she's very good, and I like her. So then I decide I'm going to come back at night and work my legs, and I'm going to do yoga again. God damn, this is like... All I can do is shake my head. Because most of the time the owner or the Starbucks or wherever, they have a limit. Thank you, Richard. They have a limit of, like they'll have a thing, I've seen it before, on their stereo or whatever they're using. They will have a limit. This is where you need to put the volume. We need to, and if they change it, the owner, especially here, at least I think here, they get pissed off. They get irritable, and the management's not allowed to do it at Starbucks and all this other shit. Anyway, I do my workout. I go run some errands. I have a nice lunch. I'm like, I gotta be here at the gym at 6 o'clock. So I work my legs. I get on I've been doing this drill with the Airdyne bicycle. If you don't know what that is, I'm sorry for all you old people who don't go to the gym anymore, or for you young people who sit there and just stuff your face and never go to the gym. Put in the work. That's my new phrase. Put in the work. Anyway, I go on this Airdyne thing, and I do interval training. 30 seconds, rest 10 seconds, 30 seconds, rest. It was 20 seconds, now it's 30 seconds. You just keep going until you're basically about to drop. Then I go on the rowing machine, and I do 2,000 meters. Then I go into my yoga class, and I'm dead. And let me tell you something. I'd never taken this instructor, her course. She twisted me up into... Carl, good to see you. Yeah, I need something, eh? Maybe a brownie today would do me right. But I'm telling you, there are times when you're doing these exercises, it ain't no joke, man. For you guys out there who are like, I'm not going to do yoga and all that other kind of stuff. I can tell you that. Thank you, Carl. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. I hope you're all right, man. When you coming back to Thailand? Anyway, I mean, she twisted me up, and the thing is last night there's 4 people in the class, so every time I'm like, everybody's like giggling. The instructor's giggling. The 3 girls next to me are giggling. I'm giggling. And then she's like pushing on me, and I'm like, no, not the hip, take it easy on the hip. And they all know now I got a bad hip. And by the time I get home, I'm absolutely exhausted. My wife comes home. She had a meeting, she had things to do. She comes home, and she basically lays down on top of me, and I'm like, get off of me. Fine. Anyway, and in the middle, I'm running around doing errands, sore as hell. And you know what? I mean, I'm bitching about it. I'm complaining about it, but I do like it, and I feel better. So, you know, vaccines or not, I still feel good. I feel better than I felt in a long time, aside from the soreness and everything like that. So, anyway, I thought it was funny that this guy actually was asking about the vaccines. He's like looking at my vaccine videos from like a year ago or however long ago. And, you know, about, oh, no more mask and no more mask. It's been almost, how long has it been now? It's been like almost 2 years, you know. Well, it's not really crouching, man. It's the bending and twisting and turning. You know, you're like turning like this, and then it's like grab your, and then it's like, okay, put your arm like this and put your thing like that. And I'm starting to get used to some of the routines. But man, I'm anxious to see when 2Q Asia comes here. I'd like him to come in for a class because I want to see him be tortured also. Because, you know, it'd be funny that somebody else is doing it. And it's what gets me is that there was a girl in the first class yesterday, and she was kind of big, and I don't mean big as in like overweight. She was just big. It depends on the class, Gennaro. There are harder classes. Some classes are harder than the others. Some classes I end up and I'm like so relaxed and I'm like, wow, I feel great. And then other times it's like, okay, try this pose. And then I try to do it and I'm like, I can't even, there's no way I can do this. I can't reach back and grab my foot, you know. I can't do that because of my hip. I can grab my left foot. But I think it's not only the yoga. I think it's that, you know, I'm still lifting weights. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm doing the, you know, the rowing machine. I'm doing the airdyne. I'm doing a lot. Anyway, this girl was a little bit bigger, and I don't mean like she was not fat. She was fit, man. But she probably weighed about 130, 135 pounds, and she was about 5'9". And nice girl. She's in the back trying to do the stuff I'm doing, and she's like moaning and groaning, and everybody's laughing. You know, everybody giggles. They're all giggling. Some people are very stoic and quiet, but there's a couple of people in there just giggling, looking at each other. Anyway, that's my attempt at levity going into a yoga class. I try to have a little fun with it. But you know, I'm gonna put up a video eventually. I'll get to it, and some photos in the community tab. They'll go up. And I'll show you what, you know. Yesterday I'm doing the working my legs, and like I said, the bicycle. That bicycle's tough. Try doing it, Gennaro. Do interval training. You know, I haven't done it in a long time, and it's tough, but it really feels good. Anyway, I don't mean to get into that too much right now. Talk about that later sometime. If you don't know, Sunday is the day when the voting's already started for some people, but God damn, this music's loud. I've been very busy right now. I don't know why I come here. You know why I come here? It's convenient. I could have went to the other Cafe Amazon down the street, and they don't play the music this loud. It's loud. Sin bang. She gives me a dirty look, which I knew I was going to get. The one girl that works here, she's a bit of a, I'll say she's a bit rough. She ain't doing anything. She just looks at me, huh? It's one of my irritants. Anyway, the vote is on Sunday. Well, I'm glad you can hear me, but like I can barely hear myself think. The freaking speakers right here. Shit gives me a headache. Oh, I'll just drone it out. Yeah, okay, I'll just be like a Thai. Like a zombie. Anyway, the big thing for me is that if Thaksin's daughter, Patong Tan, if she wins, Thaksin says he's going to come back in July. And to me, I'm like, this motherfucker has the balls. And fuck them, I'm not moving on. I buy plenty of coffee here. Yeah, that's a good idea. Should put some fucking I have headphones at home too. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. The other day I said, how come you have no food and no water here? Why is there nothing there's no stock here? Why? And it was like for a week. And the girl's like, I don't know. Fuck me, man. I was only asking, you know. Anyway, if she wins, Thaksin has the balls to come out publicly and say, I'm coming back to Thailand. I'll be back in Thailand. Now, this is a guy who he faces prison. He could go to prison for at least a few years. I don't know what his sentence was. But for him to say that, oh, well, my conviction was politically motivated, that guy's full of shit. He's just like every other fucking politician. And I guarantee she'll be like that as well. That's my opinion. Everything is for the votes, for the votes, for the votes. And quite honestly, this is one of my, we'll just segue right into this. The number one thing here, at least, and it doesn't really affect me all that much, although it affects other people, and it can affect people like foreigners because of the mentality of the government. The number one thing is the government. I got my little list here. The government. Wishy-washy decision making. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. They're corrupt. We already know there's corruption. This is part of Southeast Asia. There's instability. And then you got stupid people or people that are being stupid, saying stupid things, and I'll never forgive the guy. Well, it's the filthy Farang who brought in the COVID. No, it wasn't, you fucking moron. It was people. It was people who brought it in, not necessarily foreigners. So, when I see these kind of things, and then, it's a given. The government, and it's not just this government, it's governments everywhere. But this still is specific to Thailand. Their government sucks, in my opinion. And if you ask the people, and I'm talking about, you get these people who are like, they're so pro-Thai that they will absolutely never say anything negative, even hint at negativity. Well, this is the worst things about Thailand. This is there are negative connotations into what I'm about to say. This is not only my grievance. I think the grievances that I'm about to say are shared by many, and in many cases, they're shared by Thai people. And I think actually that Thais deserve better because, for the most part, Thais are excellent people. They're very nice, and just like I said yesterday. And no, they wouldn't. No, but this is the thing. This responsibility thing. That's a thing. I didn't even put that in there, but let me just go on. So the government. I mean, I don't even have to say that much. The government. That's all I have to say. One negative, government. One negative about America, government. It's always the fucking same. And then these are the people that they're supposed to be like, they're not really supposed to be telling you what to do, but they do. And the government here, the government here, they have that big big brother attitude, that big brother mentality, like they know better, like they're smarter than everybody else. Now I can tell you, from going into the gym, now I am surrounded by a lot more seemingly intelligent Thai people, more upscale Thai people. People who, for the most part, I've only met one or two people in the whole gym, and I've met a lot of people in the gym already. I mean, I probably talked to 30 people, 40 people. And every single one of them speaks pretty good English. I'm surprised. Only like one girl, she was like, oh, I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, okay. And, it was her friend putting her up to it. So, I think the people deserve better. That's one way of putting it. I really do think the people deserve better. Americans deserve better. They deserve better than this shit that's going on in the States because of the government. All the people who are supposed to get paid and may not get paid because of the debt ceiling, these fucking politicians need to rot in hell for this shit. How do you, if I ran up a bill that was trillions of dollars, I would be dead. It wouldn't even have to reach trillions. Maybe 10,000, if I owed $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, I'd be dead. I'd be a goner. I'd no longer be in service. But the government, they get away with, trillions of dollars of debt. So, I'm not picking on the Thai government, but the government sucks. Number two, and this is a big one, and I don't think many people are going to disagree with me. But let's just face it, there's a lot of people here who are extremely greedy. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Now, I don't know, I see the rising cost of living, which is still better than in many places. And I have to wonder, is this rising cost of living, is this necessary right now because of the fuel costs, because of the problems in the government or transportation costs, whatever it might be? Is that the reason why prices are going? Why is it that you go into the supermarket on a Wednesday and the price is 185 baht, okay, for some cereal, which is what? Not even $6. And then I go back on a Thursday and it's 230. There's a 20% increase. Oh, well, hey, we're going to increase the prices by 20% in one day, and that's where the prices are going to be now. They're never going to go down again, unless maybe we give some bullshit discount. Yeah, well, you see, this is there's a compounding effect. If you get into serious debt, then when you have an emergency and you need to borrow, you're in even further debt. And that's the government's, just view the government as, some guy named Joe or Somchai. If he did the same thing, people wouldn't put up with it. And, I know people get away with, they go bankrupt and stuff like that. But I'm talking about, if you want to do it the right way, don't get in debt in the first place. How many governments can say that? That's because governments, I just have a hard-on for governments. I really, now, could I do it any better? Maybe. But, if you ever watched that show Yellowstone, I like the way that Kevin Costner became governor, and he was like, fuck this, cancel my fucking meeting. I don't give a shit what they say. I like that. Well, you can't blame it on one person, man. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. Oh yeah, so my cereal prices and my food prices are going up because it's all because of Putin. It wouldn't be because of the United States getting involved. It wouldn't be, all these other fucking factors. There's a host of factors, man. Putin, he is what he is as well. Same with the Winnie the Pooh. Anyway, I got to shake my head. Number 2 is greed. All right, let's face it. There are some Thais who are extremely greedy. And I'm not necessarily talking about the corporations who are passing along costs because there's no other choice unless they, it's go out of business or raise our prices. It sucks. It's a fact of life. Inflation is something that happens or whatever. Good morning, everybody. I know a lot of people are coming in. I'm trying to stay focused here, but good morning to all. Number 3, and this might rub some people the wrong way, and guess what? My name is Chuck, and I don't give a flying fuck if it offends you. Well, there are some very hardworking people here. There are quite a few people, I'm talking about Thais, who they have a serious lack of motivation. It's like the guy who is building your house and he says he's going to be there at 7 in the morning and he shows up at 10:30. And by 1 o'clock he's sitting there drinking beer with his friends and the day is over. That shit happens. There's a lack of motivation, and you could even call it laziness. That is prevalent here. Not that it isn't prevalent anywhere else, but it is also, if it's not happening in some places, it's definitely happening here. There is a serious lack of motivation and laziness. So that's another one. Thais who enjoy their job tend to work really hard. A lot of them seem to be bored with their job, however, just like everywhere else. Well, yeah, that's true. And you know what I was taught? No, it's not the heat. Oh, by the way, right now it's 85 degrees. The last couple of days have been cooler. There's been a little bit of rain. It looks like it might rain. High in 92 today, low of 82. Feel like temperature currently is 93, 78% humidity, and guess what? The air quality is an astounding 27. And the dollar is, you get 33.86 baht to the dollar right now, which is still under my preferred number of 34. Anyway, let me just jump right back into it here. Now, which one do I want to go? This kind of goes with the government, but it also goes with the people here, and that is low ethical standards. Try talking ethics with Thai people. Oh, I have to give a shout out to Bruce today. Bruce, if you're listening, thank you. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Carl and also Richard. Thank you. But the ethical standards here are low, like many other things here. Well, I don't know. Listen, I was brought up that even when you don't like your job, like when I was working in a barrel factory, or I was working in Winn-Dixie, and I thought it was a shitty job, you do your best. And it's like exercise, it's like, whatever. You can't always go at it 110% and never kind of pull back a little and recover and recuperate. You can't do that. There's going to be days when you go into work and you're going to be busting your ass, or you should be busting your ass. And then there's going to be days when you feel like shit and you're just kind of going through the motions, but you're there and you're doing the best you can on that day. So, but the low ethical standards, I'm talking about lying, cheating, stealing, corruption, that is prevalent here. And you see it all the time. And you could say, oh, it's this lone case. No, it's not. You could say it's the lone bank manager or assistant manager, whatever he was, in Pattaya who stole everybody's money at Bangkok Bank. I think it was Bangkok Bank. I'm sure if Bob is listening, he could chime in and refresh my memory. But, let's just face it, low ethical standards. For the most part, that doesn't affect me, at least directly. but indirectly you might suffer from it. You don't even really know. You just expect it here. Another one here. Poor safety standards. I think we all know that the standards of building and the standards of things here, like the way that things are wired electrically, they're not always the greatest. And, you know, all I have to do is point to, you go to some condos, and, you know, my wife and I have gone to some in the past year or two, a couple of years. And you go up to some place and you grab a railing and you go, this railing is not very sturdy. It's not very strong. And, well, let me finish first, Jim. The safety standards, they suck here. I mean, I could give example after example, but, you know, the kids jumping in a swimming pool, and the wiring was bad, and they got electrocuted. People, you know, leaning up against a railing and falling to their death. People walking on a patio and falling through the patio because the build is shit. And, you know, then it comes into play, oh, well, you know, we've got a building inspector, but the building inspector can be paid off with, you know, 500 baht or something like that. That's where the corruption comes in, and the greed. They don't have to do any work, they make the money, and, oh, it's going to be fine. No, it's not. All right, so that's another one. Now, we did talk earlier, just a little while ago, about the foreigners here. Now, for the most part, I mean, I used to think to myself, wow, you know, my buddies would go, dude, you're off the rails, you're out of control. And I started looking around when I heard that, because I thought, yeah, maybe I need to pull back a little bit, maybe I'm getting a little bit too crazy. And the reality was I wasn't doing all that much that was very crazy. I wasn't doing much at all that was crazy. You know, unless you call going out getting drunk once in a while crazy. But there are some truly mental foreigners that come here to visit and that live here. And by mental, I don't mean like, hey man, he had a couple of drinks and got out of control. No, I mean like they got serious issues where they have a couple of drinks, they get out of control, and then they, you know, they shove their girlfriend off of the freaking patio or something like that. Or they go out and, you know, go on a stabbing rampage or something like that. So, foreigners. All right, so then we have the simple fact that you are never going to be Thai here. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care. About the only thing that might save you is if you look like a Thai. If you're Asian and you look like a Thai, then maybe you will fit in, but then once they find out that you're not Thai, you're not going to be one of them. You're not part of the tribe. And here, more than many other places, it matters. I will never be Thai. As much as you think you fit in, Jim, you will never be Thai. You just won't. I can tell you that in many instances, I've been all over this country, and I am always the Farang. And just when I was getting my coffee, the girl goes, you know, this Farang, he comes here, he gets the same thing all the time, blah, blah, blah. And I go, why I gotta be the Farang? Why can't I be the foreigner? Why do I have to be the Farang? I think it's pronounced here. It's quite pronounced here. All right. So you will never be Thai. You know, you're not going to get what you are supposed to get in America, and you're not even that in America sometimes, but a lot of the time you will. If you're a foreigner, nobody gives a shit. They're too busy. They're too entitled, you know. They're too self-involved, rather. Something else here that probably foreigners, especially that are visiting, they may or may not. I can't see what this is. They may, or Gennaro, if you'd handle that, if there's I can't tell if there's something going on in there. The income inequality is quite large here. You have, just like anywhere else, there's the haves and have-nots, but it seems like the gap is widening. And well, thank you. You know, like I said, you know, go into the gyms that I go to. I can say that if I was in a Muay Thai gym or a boxing gym, the vast majority of Thais are not going to be middle class, upper middle class, high-so Thais. They're going to be poor Thais from, you know, Isan or from wherever, because they're trying to make, you know, they're trying to do the George Jefferson and move it on up. So the income inequality is something, but you know, I think people just tend to, some people who come over here, visitors, tourists, and to some extent maybe the newer expats, they come over here and they think everybody in Thailand is poor, and that's not true. It's just not. I read once that Thailand has the most Mercedes-Benzes of anywhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know if that's true or not, but so there's a few. Now, let's face it. Yeah, Wheezy Jefferson. Wheezy! You look back at those shows and they were crazy what they were allowing back then, you know, which was so risque at the time. Let me read some of this stuff here because I can't see for shit right now. I need to put my glasses on. Only hard time I have are from Phalanx. Yeah, I don't really get any hard times from them. I don't get too many hard times. Once in a while I get, you know, somebody will say something. I've been standing in line and I've said something to a Thai and some chick has been, whoa, why are you doing this? And I'm like, honey, mind your own fucking business. Don't stick your nose, don't stick your beak in my business, please. And you know, while I have had instances with Thais over the years, you know, in 30 years, I've probably had 3 instances of you know, issues where I had to like really kind of get nasty. Good morning, Mr. Jetlag. Well, it's emerging, but it's not here yet, and there's still a widening gap between the more well-to-do Thais and the poor Thais, and it's the poor Thais who support Thaksin, and you know, so there are quite a few people who love him, but there are also quite a few people who despise him, which is why I was saying I don't think the guy should be allowed back in. If he comes back in, the minute he walks in, lock him up, put him in handcuffs, but that'll never happen. It's not going to happen. Now, today is not too bad. It's actually a pretty pleasant day. But something else here that really can be a problem, especially, and I've noticed it more as I've gotten older, is the extreme weather, the extreme heat. And, you know, if you listen to people, it's going to get worse and worse, and I don't know. But I guess it's better than extreme cold. But the heat can be a bitch here. So, you know, I look at these things and I go, hey, does Ecuador have these things? Maybe. Some of them. And I'm going to find out for myself because I don't want to just take secondhand information and pass it off as my own and think, oh, well, yeah, this is the case. Okay, let's face it. I've talked about this before. Traffic's a bitch. And you can say, oh, well, not in my town. Yeah, not in your town, not yet. I used to say that about Hua Hin. Oh, it's so great here. There's no traffic. Oh, Pattaya, no traffic. But there is. Now there's a hell of a lot of traffic. It's grown worse. Phuket, hell of a lot of traffic. Chiang Mai, I was surprised how much freaking traffic there was. It's grown. It's gotten worse. And the thing is, if you've been here as long as I have, not to push that in your faces again, you'll see. In the old days, it used to be like this. Now it's like, holy shit. And this is a problem in Bangkok. This is one of the reasons why I don't go out that much anymore, because I'm fucking tired of it. I don't want to sit in a freaking taxi or on the back of a motorbike for an hour or an hour and a half to get somewhere that's 10 kilometers away. It's ridiculous. And while you can take the SkyTrain, you know, you still gotta get to the stop. Okay, if you live like right next door to the stop and you can just walk outside and in a minute you're at the stop, that's one thing. But guess what? When you get there, you still gotta walk to your destination, or you gotta take a motorbike, or you gotta take a taxi, or a Song Tower, or whatever it is. Even here, yeah, I don't know, honestly. I would probably say, just if I'm guessing, I would say Thailand. I think on the whole, I would say Thailand, but I could be wrong, and I don't think I am, though. Yeah, but you know, okay, so like in my case, I have to take, if I want to, once the SkyTrain is going, and I'm still living here, we'll say I'm still living here, at least part-time, you know, like I keep saying, I want to like try to find a little cheap place down by a beach somewhere so I don't have to live this way anymore, because why do I have to? I don't have to anymore. My kids are self-sufficient for the most part. But I still have to take a Song Tao to Happy Land, or I have to take a motorbike to the station. If I take a Song Tao, I still have to walk to the station. From the station, you know, you got to go up the stairs, you got to go up the escalator, whatever. Okay, whatever, right? But that takes your time up. It's not door to door, but it is nice. It can be convenient. However, in the case of this line might connect up. It might take 2 or 3 lines to get to where I want to go, which is better than nothing. I don't want to bitch too much, but the bottom line is the reason they're building this is to try to limit the amount of traffic. And the reason there's so much traffic is because a lot of people from the smaller communities want to come here because this is where the jobs are. So until there are much bigger cities, and Thailand is a small country. I mean, you know, compared to the United States, it's a small country. So how much bigger are those cities going to get, you know, to where they're going to be able to provide the number of jobs that they need to provide? I don't know. I don't see it happening, though. Let me read some of this stuff here, because Good morning, carnivore, by the way. You're looking well, Scott. How have you been? I've not been on here for a while as I've been ill. Well, thank you. How have I been? Yeah, pretty good. I can't complain. Trying to take better care of myself. Trying to make a concerted effort to always do this. Traffic is terrible in Bangkok. Udon Thani and Khon Kaen are bad too. Yeah, there you go. The traffic in Chiang Mai is atrocious. There was a great bus system and now they got rid of it. There is what is called a wet bubble effect, where once the temperature reaches a certain index, no matter how many electrolytes you consume, your body cannot cool off. If the power grid collapses in those, cities, many will die. Well, and the thing is shit, the older that you get, the older one becomes, the more susceptible they become to the heat. Doesn't matter if you grew up here or not. They still, you know, succumb, you know. Ecuador has 17 million. Thailand has around, I think it's around 70 million actually, but whatever. 60, what's 3 million? Thailand is skewed somewhat because in certain places it's a very modern society, but in others it's not the same. Ecuador may be more even across the country. Yeah, I think that's the case with Ecuador. I think there are a few big cities, you know, Quito, I don't know about Guayaquil. My buddy says my wife probably won't like that place, but we're only going to be there for a short time before we split and head to the beach. So anyway, the traffic is something that's very bad, and this brings another point up, which is the poor driving standards. Let's just face facts. Thais are shitty drivers. They have no respect. The other day I'm on the back of a motorcycle, which I shouldn't be, but I am. I'm on the back of a motorcycle, and all of a sudden the guy locks them up. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I see this car had stopped to allow somebody to turn in front of him. And I'm like, why are you stopping? You're going straight. You don't need to stop. That car needs to wait until you pass up the place where he's going to turn. You don't just stop in the middle of the road. But they do here. And it's, I want to be polite. I remember talking about being polite, which maybe that could be on the list too, but I mean, it's not, because generally it's a great thing that the people are so polite. I remember making a phone call once, and I was trying to call somebody. I don't remember it might have been a chick, but I was trying to call something, and the line was busy for 3 hours, and I'm like, nah, they're not. This is not the kind of person who talks for 3 hours. Something's going on. And I called up and I said, listen, I got an emergency and I really need to speak to this person. Can you break through on the line? Cannot, sir. It's impolite. I go, it's impolite. Well, I'm sure they would like to know about this emergency. That's impolite that they don't know what's going on with this person that I'm talking about. I thought that was pretty funny. Good morning, fire dude. Good morning. We just had someone die in the village from heat stroke. 41 for weeks here, starting to cool down now. Yeah, it's starting to cool down. It was 44.44 here 3 days in a row. The same temperature. It was just gnarly. And it was 53 in some parts of Thailand, which tells you that 53 Celsius was 125 degrees. And this is another thing I don't think I even put this in here in my list, but the power here, the cost of the power has gone up dramatically. I mean 50%. It's crazy. All right, so the poor driving standards are a big one. Let's just face facts with that one. Heat stroke is real. My legs stopped working. I know I'm in danger. Well, yeah, I've come pretty close a couple of times. I've never heard of undertaking until I came to Thailand. Thais tend to turn, then look when they get to a junction intersection. I love Thailand, but there are a few things that start to piss me off after 7 years of being here. Don't get me wrong. It's a great place, and I'm grateful, but let's not put the blinkers on. Well, some people, they put those blinders on, and they never take them off. Fortunately, I think most foreigners, they start to wake up. It takes a little while. But it's okay to say bad things about a place, in my opinion. That's how things get better. That's how things change. And to acknowledge them is okay. But, if you look on that old Thai Visa site or some other forums, you say anything, but why don't you live here? Go back home. Oh, fuck you. I'll go back home if I want to. That's the way I look at it. Fuck off. If I want to bitch about something, I'm going to bitch about it. Just because I say Thailand is too goddamn hot sometimes, that doesn't mean I got to go home, or because you think I need to go home. Fucking crazy. Those loudspeaker advertisement trucks need to go the way of a dinosaur. I use the safety vest while driving motorbike. People think I'm crazy. I think I'm police. That's not a bad thing. All right, so that brings us to the next one. So the poor driving, that's a big one. As we know, it's one of the worst places in the world to drive. And, I always cringe when I hear people saying, I'm going to rent a car, I'm going to rent a motorbike, I'm going to drive. And, some people, they can do it, and they never have a problem, but there's a lot of people that they end up in the hospital or worse, and some of it has absolutely nothing to do with them. All right, now another big one is the pollution here. Air pollution, big one. Water pollution, and I'm talking about tap water. Oceans are polluted. Not to mention the fucking noise pollution. Everybody and their mother feels like you gotta listen to their music. You go into the mall, the music's blaring. You come into a coffee shop, the music's blaring. She turned it down just a touch, but she didn't turn it down much. I can tell you that right now. It's like, I don't want to hear the fucking song. I don't want to know every goddamn word clearly of what the person is saying. It can be right on the verge of being a little too low, but not on the verge of being too goddamn loud. That's how I look at it. And the big one, as somebody already stated, is these cars, these trucks, these vans that go by. In this area, they put a monk in the back of a truck. They blast the loudspeakers talking about come support the temple, and people run out, and it is so loud. And I'm like, how do these people stand it? Well, because they grew up as kids. They know this is all they know. And then right now, they have these political, and I've showed them in the streams, they have these pickup trucks with 14, 15 people sitting in the back, which is technically illegal, with signs up and a loudspeaker going, and they're all crying about, oh, yeah, vote for my guy. He's perfect. He'll do the job right. Yeah, sure he will. Get the fuck out of my village. That's the way I look at it. Get out of my village. About the only ones that I somewhat understand and tolerate are the fruit and veg vendors who drive through. That's probably because they don't give a shit here. But I was reading that they put just a tiny bit of chlorine in the tap water here, just so that it looks like they're trying to take care of things. They do the bare minimum. You know, they do the absolute bare minimum to get by. And I'm not talking, and you know, the fact that I have to say this just irritates me. I'm not talking about all the people. I'm not saying that all the people are this way. I'm not saying that all the people in Thailand are lazy. Of course not. A large number are very hardworking, good people. They would never even dream of like loafing to the point where they're hiding behind a counter, text messaging their girlfriend or their buddy or whoever the hell it is, hiding from the customers because they don't want to deal with any customers. Most people don't do that. Anyway, let's move on. The pollution is a huge factor here, as is the traffic and the poor driving standards. There's some big ones here. And when I look at them, I go, what am I still doing here? I mean, yeah, there's some great beaches here. And I could just say, I don't care. And most of the time I don't. But when I look at them on a list, it hits me smack dab in the face, and it's impossible to ignore. So another one, and this has to do with pollution, but it's also the low environmental standards. Let's face it, the Thais they only recently have started caring about their environment, and you know why they care? Because it equates to revenue, tourist dollars. Maya Beach, or whatever the hell it is, Maya Bay. Because of the COVID, things have gotten better because there haven't been as many people. and people haven't wanted to go out. Yes, Carl, I agree. So the low environmental standards is a big one. Now, here's another one, and some people don't give a shit. The Thais. They generally don't care. And some foreigners don't care. And I don't like it, and I don't engage in it now at all. But the animal welfare here, I'm talking about elephants, I'm talking about tigers, I'm talking about orangutan, these kind of things. And what's funny, don't know if you know or if anybody saw, but Conan O'Brien came here to Thailand. I guess he's got a travel show. I never really liked him. I don't dislike him, but he's not one of my favorites. Granted, I like Johnny Carson, and he was, as I understand it, he was a bit of a cunt off the air. Never liked Jimmy Kimmel. I prefer David Letterman over any of those guys, and even David Letterman's a bit of a smarmy bastard. Anyway, Conan O'Brien was here in Bangkok, and he was down in Chinatown. He was all over. And I guess he was complaining about the heat. Well, guess what? You complain about the heat, that gets in the news. Now, if I complain about the heat, I'm just complaining, I'm just bitching and moaning. It's not going to get in the news. I'm not Conan O'Brien. I'm not a celebrity like him. I'm not a celebrity, period. But it's funny that that's the kind of thing that people will pick up on. Oh, Thailand is so hot. Well, fucking A, you think? It's been the hottest it's been in years, to the point where people are dying, to the point where people are cranking up their air all the time, to the point where people are bitching and moaning about how freaking hot it is, to the point where people don't want to go out because, oh, it's too hot. When you see the Thai sweating, you know it's too damn hot. Anyway, that was in the news. But also, there's some actress, and her name is Holly Bailey, not Holly Berry. Holly Bailey, I've never heard of her. Apparently she posted some photos where she was posing with orangutans and tiger cubs, which in this day and age is about the dumbest thing to do as a celebrity. Because there's going to be, all the animal activists are going to come out. And I've talked about, I would never go to the tiger temple that is now closed, with the monk who was, still living free, who got away, the guy who was in charge of it, who supposedly still lives in Thailand. I made a video many, many years ago saying, here's like 8 reasons not to go to the Tiger Temple. And there's a lot of other places like that. I went to a place once, I didn't know what it was. I got taken on some little tour. I think I was shooting a boxing, a match, an event. And then I went out on some little tourist expedition, and I was like, where should I go? Oh, we can take you on a tour. Took me on a tour. They took me to this place. And there was all kinds of animals. There was like donkeys and all kinds of ostriches and all kinds of other shit. But they had orangutans putting on Muay Thai trunks and then fighting each other in like boxing, which I didn't like it. It was like stupid. And not only that, why are you going to make them do that? That's not what they want to do. It's not their natural tendency to don the fucking boxing trunks and get in the ring and, let's go, buddy. Hey, I'm going to get 10 bananas for this fight. So that's one thing. Then the other thing was that the elephants, if you've ever seen the elephants getting broken, it's freaking sad, man. And I'm not one who's overly emotional about stuff, but like when you see, it's if they can do it to the elephant, they can do it to you. Remember that. Anyway, let's move on here. Something that people don't generally talk about is the amount of pesticides that are found on the fruit and veg here. Everybody's like, oh my God, Thailand is the food is so great. And well, first of all, if you look at the food as maybe Carnivore Chronicles could chime in here, the amount of salt, the amount of sodium, the amount of sugar, MSG, not to mention the fact that the noodles are starchy as hell, fattening as hell for the most part, especially if you eat a huge plate of them. And I understand the allure, it tastes great. Most of the time the food tastes great, right? But the food is not that healthy. And, you know, yes, you can eat some food without the sauce on it and all that other kind of stuff, but it was like, you know, some ladies were asking me the other day, do you like Thai food? And I'm like, I like it a lot. I just don't eat very much of it. Well, why not? It's so good. I'm like, yes, it tastes great. It's really good. But I don't want, if I'm going to have it, I'll make it myself because then I don't put sugar in it. I don't put very much salt in it. I don't want it as salty, and I don't want to use the old oil that they're using and the shitty oil that they use. So that's another thing. And then when you, getting back to what I was saying was the pesticides. If you get an apple, or whatever it might be, some kind of fruit, get a knife and lightly scrape the surface of the fruit. And guess what comes up? A white substance that is a pesticide. And the regulations are few and far between. And this is the thing now is that, and you know, as someone who, I'm not going to lie, you know, every once in a while I'll eat, sometimes I get the urge, and I think it has to do with me, exercising now, because it's, you know, it's strenuous exercise. It's not, you know, it's not like I'm going out for a light walk where I'm walking slowly for 10 minutes. That's not what I'm doing. It's very strenuous. And so I think my body feels the need to have some carbs. So once in a great while, you know, I have one piece of bread. I try, like if my wife buys like a really dark rye bread or a black bread, I might have a piece. You know, I'll put some butter on it or something and I'll have it. Grass-fed butter. I feel the need to have the carbs sometimes, but not very often. But what I try to stay away from now, and I used to think Jono was nuts because he'd tell me, you know, he doesn't eat fruit. But I don't eat much fruit at all. At all. Because most of it, if you buy it in a, and it's if it's a juice, well, you already know it's going to have a ton of sugar in it. And I just don't want to have that because the sugar is the big culprit. And, you know, it's not like I didn't know this before, but I just was apathetic about it. I just really did not care. I was like, you know what? It tastes great. Why should I had the mentality, hey, what does it matter? I'm going to die anyway. I might as well enjoy my life. Well, I do enjoy my life now. And you know what? I had a piece of birthday cake the other day. And I did it, you know, for Alex, for the family, but it really is a nothing. It's nothing. It tastes like, in the long run, it just comes out anyway. And, you know, that's it. So, you know. Anyway, I like the whole raw idea. I like the whole carnivore idea. I like that. I don't even trust American producers, let alone places like Vietnam and China and Thailand. You think I trust the Thais in their food? No. Organic my ass. You know, you get stuff that's supposed to be organic. You know damn well. You know, with the corruption the way that it is, you know damn well there's a chance that, you know, Joe Schmo, Somchai tells Somchai Jr., hey, listen, give this guy 10,000 baht in an envelope. all of a sudden we got organic food. I don't know. Does that happen? I wouldn't put it past them. All right, let's move on. Well, we're almost through here. And then Jim, I haven't forgotten about you. Yeah. Well, if you ask about whether or not they have sugar, a little bit might be, a half an ounce of sugar. That's a lot. But most of the time, I try to limit my sugar, honestly, to under 5 grams. If I go to 10 grams in a day, I don't beat myself up. But I try to limit it to 5 grams. And that's naturally occurring sugar. It's not, because I definitely don't add sugar. Now, this one might, like I said, poor language skills. While in Bangkok, it seems that the upwardly mobile, more well-to-do Thais speak some English. It's not always great, but like the guys in the gym and the girls in the gym, ladies in the gym that I speak to, their English language skills are actually pretty good. But from what I know, the vast majority of Thais do not speak like they do. Because they don't have the money, they don't have the desire, there's that lack of motivation. And so, or they speak kind of a piss poor English where when they go abroad, people are going to know right away that they're, it's okay that English isn't your first language. I understand that. But I think they really need to improve on that. And I know, people will say, but they don't speak English. You need to speak Thai. Well, I do speak Thai. And I think my Thai isn't all that great either. And I think it's probably intermediate. I've tested, it's intermediate, upper intermediate at best. And I want to get better with it. I do want to improve on it, but then I'm like, well, what do I really want to improve on it if I'm not going to live here? Because I don't know if I'm going to live here forever. I don't know. And I get by just fine. Good morning, Andy. But I do think that if Thailand wants to continue to progress and it wants to become a truly higher income, entice higher income individuals here to invest and to gain the type of tourists that they want, these big money tourists and big money investors, they got to be able to speak the language. And I think in the corporations, they're pretty smart about it. They do encourage employees to take English language courses, and sometimes they pay for them and that kind of thing. But I think really, on the whole, their language skills are amongst the worst in Southeast Asia. That brings me to the next one, which is their education system. Now, as someone who has experienced and seen what the education system is like here, and who paid to have my kids go through school, which is another problem here. The kids who come from impoverished backgrounds should have the exact same opportunities as the kids who come from a better or a higher level socioeconomic status. And for some, they don't have the money to even pay for the uniforms and the books. Now, there's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason. And not only that, the Thais, their entire education system needs to be revamped. I think that they are working on ESL skills better than Mandarin. They've been working on their English as a second language for as long as I've been here, and it's always sucked. All of the Thais who seem to have a little bit of money, who a little bit better off, all of them that I've met speak decent English. It's not great. It's not always great. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's really good. But for the most part, they have not come very far at all. Because when I first came over here, the Thais with money spoke English. The poor Thais tended to speak very broken or very poor English. That's still the way it is. And the reason is because the Thais are resistant to speaking to each other in English, which, it's not their first language, so you understand. The only reason that my kids speak English fairly well is because I told them, first of all, when you're together, 90% of the time you should be speaking English to each other. It would just help you improve. You have your friend right here. Your brother is your friend. And then when you're with your friends, do you ever speak English? No, we speak Thai. When they're in school, though, sometimes they have to speak English. And even now, Nicholas couldn't get into school if he didn't speak English. Both he and Alex had to take English proficiency tests in order to get into their university. However, let's face it, and I hate to say this, but there are a lot of, and I said this the other day, there are a lot of Thais who, for whatever reason, they finish up school or they don't finish school, and they get a job, and it's like in many places in the world, they get a job, they start working that job, and it's like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe they're a cosmetics girl, maybe they're a grocery store clerk, maybe they're a bookkeeper, maybe, they operate a hair salon. But a lot of times they're doing they're doing all that they can do. And they have no opportunity to grow. There's nowhere to go. And if they have nowhere to go, how motivated are they going to be? How much do they really want to improve themselves? Now, I've known some working girls. I've known some regular women. I know some, not very many guys, who are extremely interested in learning to speak English because they feel it's important and they're smart about it. But let's just face it, there are a lot of uneducated people here. In my time here, I've met numerous people who can't read, can't write, and I hesitate to call people stupid, but there are always stupid people in every country. I prefer to say uneducated, but there are plenty of educated people who are stupid, so All right, what's going on here? Let's see here. Let me read this. The way to make a small fortune in Thailand is to come with a large fortune, yes. Vietnamese English level impressed me. I wouldn't say it impressed me, but their language, I think, is more conducive to English than the Thai language. I do believe that. CCP also funds cultural schools in Thailand. Well, where aren't the CCP? I know someone who has an upper level degree in mechanical engineering who can't change a flat tire. Well, that's encouraging. Can it use a slide rule? Agreed, Scott. Everyone should have the opportunity at an education. If you want private school, that's on the parents. Yeah. And I mean, we were fortunate and lucky, and you know, we sacrificed some things so that both of our kids could go to what was considered a decent school. It wasn't the greatest, and I wish I had more money. If it was one kid, then we could have put him in a fantastic school, but it was two, so we couldn't afford to put them both in a fantastic school. You know, the elite schools of Thailand, and they're extremely expensive. Why doesn't the government help subsidize this shit? Or they don't have the money. Oh yeah, sure they don't. That's just the way I look at it. That I believe they do have the. Generally speaking, Thais don't seem to have any interest in other cultures and their history. Very myopic approach to living. Exactly. Yeah, the good old days were not so good. Trade schools is the most important for most people. College is not for everyone. Well, it does. Listen, the Thais are quite good. They're quite good at being electricians, air conditioning, what do they call them, technicians. They're good with trades. They're very good with them. And, you know, Bruce is an engineer, and I don't know what he really thinks about his colleagues as far as the quality of engineers that they are. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So let me just go over these real quick here. The first was the government, the wishy-washiness, corruption, the instability of it. Number two was greed. Noise pollution. Thank you. Number one was the government. Number two was greed. Number three was the lack of motivation and the laziness that this breeds. Number four was the poor language skills. Number five was the poor education system, which fosters stupidity and apathy. Number six, the treatment of animals. Number seven, the pollution, air, water, the oceans, the noise. Number seven is the low environmental standards. Yes, you can, Andy. Number eight is the safety of the food because of pesticides and the added things like sugar, salt. Let's see here. Number 10, poor driving standards. Number 11, traffic. Number 12, the extreme weather. Number 13, poor safety standards. Building safety, all kinds of electrical safety. You see that they used to have all kinds of wires up. Now it's basically cable, as in for internet and many other things. But they used to have just loose wires hanging all over the place. They still do, but you know. Number 14, low ethical standards. Number 15, the mental foreigners, the nutcase foreigners. Number 16, you would never be Thai. I don't care how much you think they like you. I really don't. I believe this with all my heart. I have met some wonderful Thai people. But it doesn't make you one of them. If you're pitted against somebody else a lot of the time that is Thai, a lot of the time you're going to lose. The majority of the time you will lose. No, well, you know, some of it has to do with the power of the triangle, and some of it has to do with some foreigners just being extremely stupid or mentally off, mentally challenged. Number 18, income inequality. Lots of income inequality, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. Addendum, some of the critters, while working in the yard the past 2 days, I was defeated by the red ants. Okay, so the critters. You know, if you're in Bangkok, you don't have that much of a problem, although every once in a while a cobra will rear its head. A monitor lizard will be seen. Rats. That's another one. So 19, the critters. Yeah, the bugs, the mosquitoes. For some people, mosquitoes are, they're a killer, literally. Does video evidence trump Thai favoritism? Only if it gets out on social media and the world sees it and it becomes something that, is all over BBC and Reuters and Agency France Press. Then the video evidence trumps it. Just like with the Chinese girl, our police never are corrupt. We don't do those kind of things. Very next day, video evidence supports what the woman said. The cops are going to be fired. These are a few bad cops. Yeah, okay. It's a freaking thin blue line. Where here it's the thin brown line. So there's some very good reasons. That's 19 reasons. 19 things in Thailand that are among the worst things here. And there's always other stuff. You could break it down. You could say 100 things. Well, rats is one. Mosquitoes is one. Temples do nothing for me. You see one, for the most part, you see one, you've seen them all. Now, there are some exceptions, of course. I am not a religious person. So quite frankly, it's the architecture that I'm looking at. It's the build. And like I said, I'd say 80% of the temple, they're all the same. You got the 20%, the blue temple, the white temple, the Wat Arun, the Temple of the Triangle, yes. That's the most powerful temple here. Anyway, listen, for all the people that are watching, do me a favor, click a thumbs up if you don't mind, if you like this, if you like the streams, if you want more, if you like the daily Mallon. This has become a daily ritual. Drop from 44 to 38 by 38 Tyson. I don't know. You can get your shit online. And if you look around, I don't know about your area, but if you look around in Bangkok, you can always find something that fits. I tried on a couple pair of slacks that I had. One of them was a pair of Nautica slacks. Another was John Henry. And I mean, these are like 10, 12 years old. And I couldn't fit into them. I got too fucking fat. I couldn't fit in them. Now I fit in them. And they look good on me. Now I just got to buy some shoes that go with them because the shoes I used to have, they got old. They were nice leather shoes. They got old. They got worn. And, I don't need them anymore for the most part. I don't know. Is there one? Oh, no. Believe me, you don't want to go there, pal. No. Good from far, far from good. We all have two thumbs, so we can give Scott one. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not done so already. Leave a comment. Let me know you want me to keep doing the daily Mallon, or is it too much Mallon to handle? I understand that, and she was, believe me, good from far, far from good. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I saw another one. But no. I guess I missed out. Oh well. I'm sure there'll be others. Raw sewage being pumped into the ocean on the islands is a nice treat. I did do I think I took photos of it, or I shot some video of it a long time ago. I was in Cambodia. And all the sewage was just going right into the Tonle Sap. And I'm like, oh, this is good. And, maybe they've cleaned things up a little bit, but still, it's like, you can look at it in a couple of different ways. That's what they come. You can look at it in a couple of different ways. I look at it like the fish and the animals in the ocean are shitting in that ocean all day, every day for, as long as oceans have been around. So what's a little human waste in the ocean? It's no big deal. And imagine, the kids are people, they're swimming around, swirling that water around in their mouth and spitting it out like a fountain. Hey, this water tastes a little pooey. I wonder why. Yeah, hit the thumbs up 3 times if you really like it. You couldn't find your size at Icon Siam. So what do you got? Well, yeah, go jump in the canal. Lots of people from the gym come here before they go to the gym, which I understand as well because, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think of is coffee. She speaks no English, but she's from the gym. I forget what I was talking to her about, where somebody was telling her something. She was doing stomach exercises. She was doing crunches. And the guy had her crying. He had her crying. She was on the machine, and the guy had her crying. She's like, no more, no more. And then like 3 guys, and I was one of them, were all going, come on, one more, you can do it. And then afterwards, I said something to her in English. She's like, I don't know what you're saying. It was funny. Dysentery. Oh, yeah, that's good. Typhoid. That's another great one. There you go, gentlemen. Here's your eye candy for the day. All that shit. You think I don't worry about that when I eat food? I mean, go to a little shop house. If you go to the shop house and the place is a pigsty, it's a complete mess. Don't eat there. Because if they're not cleaning their house up, they're probably not cleaning up where they cook. And then sometimes they're using oil and then reusing it like, what's the place? Texas Chicken. I haven't been to Texas Chicken in years now. I haven't been to KFC years now. I did have some bonchon a couple of weeks ago, and I was sorry I did afterwards. So now I get my food, and hopefully the food coming from the butcher is very good, high quality. Lord knows I'm paying enough for this shit. And I cook it myself. And I don't mind it. Now, every once in a while I get lazy and, that's when I go out somewhere, but I have my trusted locations. 2 different times I tried to change my return flight to Thailand. Both times I mysteriously got disconnected on the phone. Oh, there are, but, Gennaro, I only have one word for you. Corruption. I'm sure there's, again, I have to preface this because, in this day and age, we have to do these things. I'm sure there's a large number of them that are quite good at their jobs, but there's those bad apples out there. Anyway, don't forget to look in the description. Get yourself some merch. Go to anamericaninbangkok.com. Check out don't forget about Patreon. Seems like Patreon's been forgotten. Hit the join button. I like the Cash App. I got a couple Cash Apps today. Thank you very much for those. I appreciate that. I'm trying to raise as much fundage as possible for this journey because you never know how much is going to be needed, and 1,000 baht fixes everything. Exactly, that's my point. So, and you could say, €1,000 fixes everything, $1,000 fixes everything. It doesn't really matter. It depends on who you're dealing with and just how flexible they are. That's the word I'll use, flexible. In Myanmar, I think they say, do you have a gift for me? Do you have some tea money? So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, look at this. It's cloudy. And it's cooler. Oops. Yeah, sometimes it's a six-pack. Hey, you want to stay an extra hour and help me finish this up and move this stuff? Well, I tell you what, I'll give you a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'll give you a bottle of Johnny Walker. It's the way it works here. So there you have it, the negatives. If you have an idea for a stream or a video, put it in the comments, leave it down below, whatever. Yesterday, the weirdest thing happened. I'm shooting some video in the coffee shop, and when you're shooting a photo, it's fine, but when you shoot the video, the screen is going like this. I'm like, son of a bitch, something's wrong with my camera. I must have dropped it or something. Nice, helpful topic today. Thank you, Carnivore Chronicles. At the buzzer, you prevent me from going scoreless. I appreciate that. This has been a pretty good month for me, which I attribute to, first of all, everybody's generosity, which I appreciate, really, but also because I've been doing daily streams, because I've been, working harder at it, and I think I'm working harder because when I exercise, my mind is a little clearer, and that's the truth. The diet, the exercise, changing how I eat, the exercise, and let me tell you something. I said it a long time ago, and sometimes I think people don't really believe me, but when I go to the gym, I'm like a little rat, man. I'm like a gym rat, and I work my ass off. Now, I'm working my ass off for me. I mean, it's the most that I can work at my advanced age and with all my injuries and everything like that. But I do find that if you put the work in, you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel, and it's always been the case with me. Whenever when I would go on those long walks, I always feel great at the end of the walk because I got it done. You feel like you accomplished something. And yesterday, I must have trained about 4 hours, really. And an hour, 2 hours of yoga, an hour and a half of lifting, a half hour of cardio. So how can you do that and fail? You know what I mean? And Carnivore, I wanted to ask you, I've been meaning to ask you, how is things going with you? How are things going with you and your own carnivore diet? If you don't mind sharing that with us. I only use my phone for videos and pics now. Well, I almost never make any phone calls, but, I use it I watch shows on it, like, or listen to music, stuff like that. But what's weird is that the thing was vibrating. I take it to the girl who works on my phone. I got two little places, and I kind of feel bad because one had been a place that I used for a long time. And the guy and the girl, they're married, I like them. And especially the girl, she's very, very helpful, always very nice. And I moved over to another girl because I couldn't find the people. Now I found them again, and I've already switched over to this one girl. Well, I go over to the girl, And I say, I think I need to get this fixed. What's going on? 2,000 baht. You got to replace your camera. I'm like, son of a bitch. So it looks like, maybe when I go back to the States, I don't know. I'm going to need to, I'm probably going to need to get a new phone at some point, which is, I never like even thinking about it because, damage that's not reversible, kind of like Bob. Really? Well, shit, man. We'll have to talk about that offline a little bit. That's not good. I'm sorry to hear that. How's Sid? Sid's is still a pain in the ass, like always. Most of the time, he is a very nice cat, and he comes over now, and he knows, don't bite me too hard, or I'll get pissed off. So he gives me the little love bites. He's good. But every once in a while, it'll be like, he gets berserk, man. He goes berserk. And what he does is, he just runs around and jumps all over me, and bounces off my head, scratches up the wall, just things like that just irritate the shit out of me. I understand in the morning, it's like I'm the first one up. My wife wakes up after me. So Sid comes to me and he starts meowing because he wants food. And I'm like, well then stop. When I ask you to stop running around, then do what I tell you and I'll give you your goddamn food. Now I feed him, but that's what I think. I think to myself, little bastard. But I love the little guy. He's all right. He's pretty good. For the most part, he's good. No need to work out more than 45 minutes to 60 minutes at a time. The yoga class alone is an hour, and I got other things to do. I don't want to do yoga once a week because it's not that kind of an endeavor to me. One good thing is that where I'm going in Ecuador is a big surfing community and also yoga community, which I'm not into the whole, I'm a yogi, but there's something to be said for it. You look at most of the chicks who practice yoga, and they've been practicing for a while, they're freaking in shape, man. They're toned, they look good. I don't know how they are on the inside. That doesn't mean they're not screwed up in the head, or doesn't mean they don't have internal issues. Well, listen, man, I don't know what people think, but there is relaxing yoga where you don't really push yourself that much and it's like a good stretch. And there is yoga that is quite hard. And I don't mean just for me. I've seen some girls in there that are extremely fit. And some of the poses, and the exercises or whatever you want to call them, they're not easy. But when it comes to the cardio, I don't go more than about 30 minutes on cardio. And I intersperse the high interval training with longer things, like I'll do a 2,000 meter row, which is not all that. And I won't really do it for speed. I'll just do it at a steady speed as opposed to for time. And then I'll go and do, 500 meters as a sprint, or I'll do intervals. And then I'll get on the Airdyne bicycle. I'll do intervals. And then I'll get on the bicycle and I'll go for 15 minutes, 20 minutes just on the bicycle. So all that with everything else, I got enough on my plate, man. I got too many things to do. And, I don't really want to go twice a day because it takes up a lot of time going back and forth. You got to change your clothes. You get all sweaty. Then you got to take a shower. You got to change. You got to come back. It's a commitment. It's just like a relationship. Who wants a relationship? If you're not in one already or you don't have a good woman, what do you want a relationship for? Either you find a good one or you don't be in a relationship. It's the same thing. Anyway, interesting times we're in right now. I'm anxious to see how the election turns out. Not for any other reason than I just want to see, is it going to affect foreigners? Is it going to affect the cannabis thing? Well, listen, it's funny that you mentioned the massages, Carnivore Chronicles. I had my annual blood test a few days ago. Nothing I didn't know about. Highest cholesterol, diabetes count goes up and down. Still no medication. Yeah, I don't really have any medication, although I am taking some an anti-inflammatory right now because I've been in some pains. I've had some joint pain. I've talked about it in my hands. I've got arthritis, and I've got joint pain in my elbows and my knees and my hips. So that's something. But I was just looking today at some information, and this is why I say, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's a job, whether it's YouTube, whether it's exercise, but you cannot push at 1,000% all the time. It's physically impossible. That's why people get burned out. That's why people quit. Somebody starts jujitsu and they start getting thrown around, and all they do is get thrown around, and they go every day for 4 hours a day because they think it's going to make them better. And then after a couple of weeks or a month, they're like, I can't handle it. It's too much. Well, maybe if you went 3 days a week, it'd be better. You got to give yourself that recovery time. And the massages here, I'm in the next, as soon as I can, because I'm trying to conserve the funds so that the trip is it's relatively easy for us, but I definitely need to get a good massage where they don't hurt me, like hurt my hip, and there are some other things you can do. And if I had a little more money, I would be doing things like the what's the thing where you float in a tank? I do that. I do the what's it called, cryogenics. Where you do that, I buy a package of that. So, they have packages like, 5 visits, 10 visits. But it's expensive. It adds up. And so, you got to do what you can do. Lately, what I've been doing is I put ice packs on my back, or I get a bottle of water, just like this. And I put it in the freezer. And then when it's done, when it's frozen, I wrap it up in like a paper towel or something, and it seeps through, but it doesn't get too wet. And then I put it on my back, or I put it on one of my joints or something like that, because it feels better. So the recovery is important, and listening to your body is very important. There's a difference between being lazy and being extremely fatigued, which is when you get hurt. So I'm glad I don't have any yoga for 2 days. I have yoga on Sunday, and I'm happy about that. And yeah, I think you need to remember that. And I think Thailand is a good place for all these things, which is why so many people come and they practice Muay Thai and they go into gyms and they do things. And for a lot of people, it's a no-brainer. You come here, you get better. You get it is a good place for the wellness industry, and I think it's going to continue to improve. So, and more Thais are exercising than, say, 30 years ago. Although, and this is one of the negatives, is that I didn't put on here. Well, I did say food safety. It's that there are so many sweets and so much sugar, so many sugar-laden products. If I look over here, and I look, all right, there's not that many here because they're running low. Up top, there's cookies. Then you got the cakes. You got 3 different kinds of cakes. You got some little sandwich thing. You got what is that? It's like a pie or something over there. That drink over there on the left, that berry drink full of sugar. All the drinks that they have here, tons of sugar in the Frappuccino drinks. So it's just like anywhere else. Well, that's good. I think the heat is better than being in the cold, for sure. Being in the cold would kick my ass because of my problems with my joints. Well, not looking doesn't mean it's not there. I know you might think it's invisible because you're not looking, but and listen, here in this very Amazon, I used to drink these. What are they? It's just strawberry cheesecake drinks. They're excellent. They're so good, and they're $70. They're like $2, not even $2. Oh, they're a little more than $2. But I don't touch them anymore. And quite frankly, I get sick of drinking espresso. I'm sick of it now. I'm really sick of it. I don't get the joy out of coffee that I once did because I'm drinking 2-3 cups a day, 4 cups a day. It's too much. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining, and thank you for everything. I don't know what's to. Oh well, at least I'll be streaming at least once this weekend, maybe twice. But if I do twice, one of the nights will be a Chowderhead reading. I'll pick out a good story. We'll talk about that, and then the other one, I'll pick something out, pick a good topic. If you can't join me on the weekend, join me next week, Monday. And yeah, we're counting down the days here. Hopefully the visa will come for my wife. If it doesn't, that's a big problem. Hey, John, that's a big problem, but we got a good 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks before we leave, so hopefully that visa will come. It'll come through, and then we're off. And, there's part of me, I'm in my comfort zone here, and I like it. Things are going well. I'm liking to go into the gym. I'm liking the setup that I have. And to go abroad, it means, I gotta go out of my comfort zone, which I haven't. I do every once in a while, but I haven't really done it in a while. I guess since maybe Sanklebury. So that'll be interesting, but I'm going to carry one small backpack. That's about it. I'm going to have like a pair of jeans. I'll be wearing a pair of jeans. I'll have one long sleeve shirt, 2 pairs of shorts, a couple pairs of socks and underwear, some flip-flops, a pair of tennis shoes, my laptop, all the charging stuff, and that's it. I think that's it. It's been 4 or 5 years, 4 years. It's been a while. It's been a minute. So, be good to see my parents. Otherwise I wouldn't go back. See my family, my parents and my sister. I wouldn't go back if it wasn't for them. I got no reason to go. I would go to Ecuador, but Ecuador is only really good for me coming from here if I'm going to stop in the States and go see somebody, my parents, family. It's just so damn far, I just don't get the thrill anymore of sitting in a plane. It doesn't do anything for me, Anyway, hopefully, the stewardesses will all be nice, pleasant, give great service. The kids will be happy. The wife will be happy. We'll have some wonderful experiences. I'll get some good video footage. I'll get some good streams in, and, we'll take it from there. Anyway, it's time to go. I got to go. I got things to do. So I will talk to you guys later. Till next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Inflatable. You're welcome. You're welcome. Don't forget to click the thumbs up, subscribe, join, CASHAPP, buy me a coffee, all that other shit. Wish I didn't have to say that, but I do. So I'll talk to you guys later.